take it from you tomorrow, mama. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, whether rich or poor. When I pray for long term, pray for long life. I know you're living, oh, the better we grow. Mama, how are you? It can make you heavy. It's just like a volcano. They break it to capsize. Sweet, sweet, kiss our liver. Not for well long. He won't be can eat it. Kiss our liver. Kiss our liver. Kiss our liver. Not for well long. You want to get me there today, or I will take it from you tomorrow, mama. You take it from me today, oh mother, we take it from you tomorrow. Fine, fine, oh fine, fine, when you feel. Well, people do to you, you going to cry. I don't know for one person, oh, it's a matter of time. After this a lesson, yeah, rather this I had. Sweet, sweet is our liver, not for go alone, mama. You mama can eat it, oh, the you can eat it.
So let me say welcome to our show. This is where we discuss Mr. Cummings' campaign his activities.
It's our liver, not for go alone. Humans can eat it, or we should eat it too. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, whether rich or poor. When I pray for long fellow, they can pray for long life. As long as they living, the better we grow. You take it from me right today, oh, me will take it from you tomorrow, mama. You take it from me today, oh, Paul will take it from you tomorrow. It can be heavy. Looking like a
Thank you for joining today's conversation. I'm Carter here. Sorry that I'm broadcasting from home. So I'm Carter here on this conversation like always. And this is where we discuss Mr. Cummings' political campaign. This is also where we bring to bear some of the training issues in our country. And this is also where Mr. Cummings' political campaign is hardened and shared. And we are passionate in doing this. And because we love doing this, we love sharing Mr. Cummings' campaign. And that's the reason why we are always here on the Audible Cummings show, bringing you information surrounding our political process. And let me give you this strange information. A man from Bon County killed his wife. It was reported on Front Page Africa. Killed his wife for not cooking mint. So that is the training situation around the corridor. And CDC Senator have officially said to the CDC administration that 2023 is going to be a tough one, and he hope and sure that CDC wins comes 2023. That was very clear. And also, we have to look at few things here. We have to look at few things here. So, pardon me a bit, we have to look at few things here. And today I'll be very much focused on issues surrounding our political process. issues surrounding our political process will be very vocal. Keep sharing this live video. Keep doing what you know how to do best, and keep sharing this live video. And there's something that is on my mind that I want to share to you all. Right? You can comment your thought. There's something on my mind I want to share with you. It is disgusting. It is something that I don't appreciate happening in our urban corridors, and I believe that we need to get rid of that habit and that attitude. In the sense that people will use human parts. Thank you for following. Thank you for following. Thank you for following. To all those who are following, thank you for following. Keep sharing this video. Let me say this. Mr. Cummings will be giving you a draft conversation for you to interact with Mr. Cummings in the video. Now, let me say this to you all. Liberia is on a crossroad. Liberia need a training political leader that have the ability and the political experience to change our country. It is with the fact that we all Liberians need to come together. 2023 should be a national call, should be a national revolutionary call to call our Liberian people together to make one resounding victory come 2023. It is hard time we come together. It is hard time we know what we want. We should base our vote on competency, qualification instead of popularity. We should help to bring up the campaign of Mr. Cummings. We should come together. Diaspora Liberians on the ground should come together. Continue recruiting. Continue being who you want to be. Let us make Mr. Cummings campaign the reform campaign that we need to have. Because 2023, I can tell you this for free, 2023 is going to be more tougher than 2017 election. Because everybody is going to play their cards. Everybody is going to have what they want to have. Everybody is going to go for the voters. Everybody is going to decide who to be as a candidate, who to carry, and as supporters of Mr. Designer becomes. Let us always make the case of Mr. Cummings. Let us always come together. Let us all find an alternative to lead Mr. Cummings' campaign. Let us not be separated. CDC is always separated. CDC is going through a mass struggle. I can tell you this, that's the reason why they continue to criticize Mr. Cummings on a daily basis. If we must support Mr. Cummings, we must come together on one umbrella, on one vision, on a moral call to support Mr. Cummings 2023. That is the moral call. That's the moral obligation that we should have as supporters of Mr. Cummings. Leave everyone that is supporting Mr. Cummings. Come together, support Mr. Cummings on that call. And if Mr. Cummings be supported on that call, we will definitely have a victory council today. We already have the ground. We already have the moral attitude to defeat whosoever we want to defeat. We already have a candidate who knows what to do and who is already doing what he knows how to do. But it is based on our decisions that we will make. Comes to the decision is to liberate our Liberian people, and that decision should not be exempted from the court, regardless of anything. That decision should not be extracted from our court. Let us come together. Every supporters of Mr. Cummings come together. Every Liberian listen. If you feel your life is better, you can make a decision. But if you feel your life is not better, make that resounding change. Make that resounding change. If you think your life is not better, you can make your resounding change. And the change should be electing someone who have the competency, someone who have the vision, someone who have the moral attitude. And that's the reason why I support Mr. Cummings. Because I believe Mr. Cummings is that next alternative that will bring the change. I believe Mr. Cummings is that next person that will bring the change. And let me say this. Let me publicly say this. Our Cummings show will be supporting Christine Woody in Christine Woody in Grand Judah County. She's participating for Miss Grand Judah. She participates. She called it in Grand Judah. I will urge everyone, all of the supporters. I will publish a photo. You will see on the show. She's participating in Miss Grand Judah. Let me publish a photo for you to see, so you can go out and support her. Everywhere you can have a contact. If she's on air, she can comment. She can comment. She can go on the ANC Librarian TV page and comment. Then we'll be able to share the contact with her for her to come up if she's on air. But that's the reason. So my blogs, I will use my blogs, I will use my showtime to post some of the work that she'll be doing. She currently participating in Grand Judah, Miss Putu. She's currently in Grand Judah. So let me say this, right? We should not sit and allow authentic photos. And let me say this, citizens. You know your life is not better. You know your life is not that life that you wish to have. Do not base your life, your future, your children's future. Do not base your children's future based on party mandate. Do not take your children's future and place it on party mandate. Party mandate will definitely not help you. Party mandate will definitely not get you anywhere. Party mandate will destroy your future as it is destroying the many people currently. Party mandate is nothing to the patriotism core of your people and liberating yourself. Self-liberation is important than being involved in party mandate. I see people around passing party mandate. If you live on party mandate for now, just one day, party mandate will do you nothing, but party mandate will carry you on the road of destruction. Party mandate will carry you on the road of destruction. Party mandate will do you nothing, but carry you on the road of destruction. Comes down to the day. So let me play this interaction with Mr. Cummings. Let me play this interaction with Mr. Cummings, and I want you to share this live video. There's an interaction. Sorry for the internet. I will play this interaction with Mr. Cummings, and then we'll begin the conversation. Listen to this interaction. Let me share this interaction from KNT with Mr. Cummings.
I encourage everybody to support KMTV.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. I want to welcome you to what we're calling ABC Time, a live podcast with Alexander Cummings of the Alternative National Congress. We decided to do a monthly podcast so that people who support the ANC, who support Alexander Cummings, can hear from me, can get to know me better. We want to take your questions, comments, and suggestions through this medium. We felt it was important that we define ourselves for the Liberian people and for all supporters of the ANC. So today will be our first in the series. We plan to do this monthly. We plan to have topics continue, so some continuity from podcast to podcast. But more importantly, we want to also hear from you. In addition to you hearing from me, I want to hear from you in comments, thoughts, suggestions on the way forward for our country, on the way forward for the ANC, and any personal suggestions you may have for me. We will do this broadcast from different settings and locations over time. Today, we are in my office in Monrovia on Old Road, where we have the Cummings Africa Foundation. It's a relatively small, modest office, but it works very well for us, and it's where I spend quite a bit of time, and the other half of my time I spend at the party office. At our next podcast, we will do it from the party office, but we will sometimes do it in marketplaces, in neighborhoods, etc., etc. So look forward to ongoing interactions with me, where we can address current issues and hear from you. Today, I wanted to just start with a bit of biography. Tell you a little about myself, where I grew up, a bit of my journey to this point. And I also want to talk a little bit about why I'm aspiring to serve our people, why I'm aspiring to, one day become president of Liberia. But let me start by telling you about myself, who I am. So the Cummings family is primarily from Maryland County, but part of the family also settled and grew up in Tapeta County. So I claim roots in both of those counties. I was personally born in Monrovia at the old government hospital on Ashman Street. We grew up in Point Four, Bushra Island, in that community, and lived there many years. I attended the Monrovia Demonstration Elementary School on Clay Street, where I got my elementary education, government elementary school. Then I attended CWA in College of West Africa, and this will not come as a surprise. I thought it was the best high school in Liberia at the time. So anyway, I went to CWA, then I went to Cummings. I left Cummings after my first 2 years and finished undergraduate school in Illinois, in the United States, Northern Illinois University. I returned back to Liberia and worked at the Liberian Bank for Development and Investment, where I was a project analyst. I did that for 2 years, and then returned to graduate school, where I studied finance. I got an MBA in finance. Where for 15 years those were the company, and then almost 20 years with the company. In both of those, I was first when in Nigeria, which is a very big market. After that, I ran half of Africa from Nairobi, and then I ran all of Africa, initially from London, United Kingdom, and then subsequently I ran the Africa group from Johannesburg, South Africa. And then my last 8 years at Coca-Cola, I was executive vice president and chief administrative officer of the Coca-Cola company. It was a global position where I had responsibilities for almost all of the company's functions globally. So quite significant, major role at that company. For point of reference, the Coca-Cola company market value on the New York Stock Exchange is over 200 billion United States dollars. And so I was very blessed, fortunate as a Liberian to have achieved that level of success. I often joke and say to people, it wasn't my father's company. I had to earn that level of achievement, and I'm very, very proud of that fact that that did occur. But I also say though that many other Liberians, given the same opportunity, would have done as well or would have done better. And so I don't take for granted the fact that I had the opportunity, but I did take advantage of it. I did seize the opportunity. And I did myself, my family, and our country proud in the execution of all the roles I've had throughout my career. On the personal side, my mother is still alive. She's 92 years old, almost 93. I have two sisters. I lost my younger sister, unfortunately, 2 years ago. I'm married to Teresa. We've been married for 37 years. We have two young adult children. My daughter, Ayo, who is a teacher, an actor, and my son, Boykai, who is a business person. And Boykai is married, and we have three grandchildren. Naya, one Kemi, and Zokaya, our three grandkids. So that's a bit on the personal side. So that's a bit of my biography, if you will. And when we get to Q&A, if you have any questions, please let us have it, and we'll address it on that topic. The other topic I wanted to cover today was, why do I want to serve our country? Why am I aspiring to lead Liberia? And I always start answering that question by saying, because I've been incredibly blessed in life. And I don't believe God blessed me the way He did to keep those blessings just for myself, and not to help the country of my birth, the country I care for and love so much. And my first blessing actually is, I believe, to be a Liberian, something I'm very, very, very proud of. And so, I have other blessings. I mentioned I've worked in several countries around the world. I've held several significant roles where I've gained experiences. I've worked with all kinds of nationalities around the world. I competed well, I did well, and I think I can bring these experiences to bear to help transform our country. But most importantly, I care deeply for Liberia and for Liberians. And I believe as a people, we deserve a better Liberia. I believe we as a people are better than the country we have. And I think working together, we can change Liberia for the benefit of all Liberians. And that is my passion. That is my goal. I keep saying to people who support me, come and join this cause, come and join this movement for the transformation of Liberia. If you're joining this movement, if you're joining this cause because you want to come and chop, because you want to come and play big shot, because you want it to be a time, I'm the wrong person to follow. We want to do this because we want people who want to work, who believe in Liberia and Liberians, and who want to work to transform Liberia for the benefit of all Liberians. There are a few things I think that have impacted our country. And after 172 years, I think there are a few fundamental things that have contributed significantly to why we are where we are. The first thing I talk about is this thing we call corruption or economic crimes. And this has been with us since the beginning of our country. And unless we're prepared to do what it takes to significantly reduce corruption and to punish economic crimes, Liberia will continue to struggle. Will continue to be amongst the poorest countries in the world. The second thing we have to change fundamentally in our country is we have to make sure that every Liberian has access to opportunities. We should not limit access to opportunity based on tribe, based on who you know, based on where you're from. Every Liberian has to feel they have access to the opportunities of our country. I describe opportunities as this bowl of rice we all eat from. And part of the reason why Liberia is where it is that over the history of our country, we've limited access to that bowl of rice. Whether it was the Congo people first, or maybe the Crown people when Togo was president, or now if you're not a sedition, every Liberian has to feel they have a right to the opportunities our country offers. There should be only two constraints that limit how much of that rice or that fufu you can eat. One is you have to follow the rules. We can have a country where we don't reward good behavior and we don't punish bad behavior. Everybody has to follow the rules. And if you follow the rules, you will have access to the opportunities our country offers. The second thing that may limit how much of that rice or food you eat is your willingness to work. If you work hard, you will eat a lot of the rice. If you're lazy, you eat very little of the rice. So if you follow the rules and you work hard, you will consume a lot of rice. If you don't follow the rules, we will not give you access. And if you follow the rules and you're lazy, you will not eat much. But every Liberian has to believe and have to see that we're not limiting the access to the opportunities our country offers. I'm very passionate about that. Then we also got to figure out how to work together as a people. This is something we struggle to do. Yeah, we have a winner takes all mentality. We always try to prove the other person wrong. And we got to work on changing this mentality. This is why, we've established the collaborating political parties, CPP. This is why I think it's important for us to figure out how we can make this work. How we can take a collection of independent parties and collaborate in the interests of our country and of our people. And so it'll be difficult. It'll be tough. If the expectation was that, we'll just announce it and we'll have this kumbaya movement where everything will be perfect, that was naive. Collaboration takes time, it takes effort. We're going to have disagreements, we're going to storm, but we got to be determined to get through those difficult periods, build trust, and then hold together, because it's not only important for us to have collaboration to win elections. That's how we should govern our country. We should have a government of inclusion where as many people are under the tent, because transforming our country will be difficult. It will require a lot of choices, and the more people in the tent who can explain to their various constituencies why we're doing what we're doing, why we're making the choices we're making, it'll make it easier to fundamentally change and transform our country, which is what we should all want. We should all want to be proud of this country we call Liberia. We should all want to feel we have access to the opportunities of our country. We should all want to see our country developed. But I can say to you for free, it will not happen because we say so or because I say so. It will not happen because we wish it. It will happen because we work for it, because we're determined to get it, because we care for our country, because we love our country, and we care for and we love each other. But bottom line is, we gotta do the work, we gotta have the discipline, we gotta have the focus if we want to change Liberia. Two other things I'd like to share, and I'd like to share this at this moment. One is, I say this all the time and I'll keep repeating it, and I think it's resonating because it happens to be true. And this is not an Alex Cummings saying, this is actually Albert Einstein, the famous genius scientist. You cannot keep doing the same things and expect different results. Doing the same things and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And we're all sane people, we're all smart people, and I say to you, I say to all Liberians, we cannot keep doing the same things and expect different results. We cannot keep electing people with a similar kind of experiences that we had in the past and expect different results. We cannot keep selecting people with the same style and approach that we have in the past and expect things to change. We have to do many things differently in our individual lives and in our national lives if we want to change Liberia. And so I need all of us to understand that we gotta do many things fundamentally different to move Liberia from where it is, from where we all want it to be. The other thing I like to say and I enjoy saying all the time is, the best predictor of future performance and future behavior is past performance and past behavior. So if somebody has been good in the past, if they deliver results on a consistent basis, if they manage large complex organizations in the past, they're likely to do it in the future. If they have not done that, or if they were bad, or whatever, they are likely to do the same thing in the future. Very strong correlation between what behaviors and performance in the past and behaviors and performance in the future. Nothing will change all of a sudden because you elect that person a senator, or you elect that person a representative, or you appoint that person to a minister, deputy minister, whatever it is. If they have not performed in the past, they are unlikely to perform in the future. If they were corrupt in the past, they are likely to be corrupt in the future. And of course, there are no perfect human beings. I'm not perfect, and we're not looking for perfection. But these fundamental truths pervades the world. And as Liberians, we need to understand that. And as we choose leaders, whether it's in your local organization, healthcare workers association, teachers association, whatever association you have, various county associations, as you pick your leaders, look at past behavior, past performance, not superficially, right? And again, collectively, think about what you want to do different to move that organization ahead. In your personal life, if you get up every day and you do the same thing you did yesterday, the outcomes today and tomorrow will be the same. If you want something to happen different in your personal life, you got to do something different to deliver a different outcome. And so as we think about our national interest, I want us to think along those lines as well. And then my other favorite saying, and those of you who follow me, you've heard this before, but we'll keep repeating that because they happen to be true, and I believe that is the best way to predict the future. The best way to predict the future is to create it. If you want a good outcome in the future, you have to work today to create the future you want. If you to predict that future you want, the best way to do it is to do the work today to create the future you want to have for yourself, for your family, for your organization, and certainly for Liberia. And I believe that working together with a common goal and objective, we can create the future we want for our country. So I'm going to stop now, and to the extent we have questions, we'll take them. Attorney Mariah Yakula is here with me, and she will read our questions, comments, and all suggestions. And if there aren't any, then there are a few more areas I can touch on again in this first podcast.
Okay, we have a few questions. So one of the questions from Hamilton Tape, he says you're talking about Liberians working together, but you were invited by government many times to discuss national issues and you never took part.
So, just to correct the presupposition, if you will, I was invited twice, not many times. Important we get the facts right. And the first time I was not invited personally, but the political party was invited, ANC, as well as the other parties were invited to a forum here in Liberia. The ANC was very well represented at that event by the chairman of the party and other officers of the party. So again, facts are important, and allegations and assertions gotta be based on facts. So not many, only two, and the first one the party was represented. But I was not in the country for the first event. But we made sure the party was represented and presented, I think, very, very well at that event. The second one was the more recent dialogue, economic dialogue. And again, the invitation actually came at the last moment. I had made plans to be away from the country. I want to remind Liberians and I want to remind Hamilton, who asked this question, that I sometimes have to travel because I still do some work. I do consulting, I sit on boards. It generates income that I can bring back to Liberia to invest, to fund the political activities we have. So I don't go on vacation, if you will. And so my calendar has to be planned well in advance because I have these commitments that I have to keep for many, many reasons, economic and otherwise. And so the last invitation, I couldn't attend because, again, it came at the last minute. I, however, sent very specific and detailed recommendations on how we can revive the economy of Liberia. And we will put it, it's not already, we'll put it on the ANC website. It's there for you to see and read. So we did not just decline the opportunity because we had to travel. We actually responded and sent very detailed, specific recommendations. Let me also say though, while I think having economic dialogue is not a bad thing to do, and I'm glad it was held, but after almost 2 years in office, we shouldn't be having this conversation. We elected a government that should have known what they wanted to do when they took over, should have had these solutions, and our economy should be moving ahead as we speak, right? So I think we should be disappointed that almost 2 years in, we're having a dialogue about what to do to revive the economy. Having said that, it wasn't a bad idea, it was a good thing, but these are the reasons why I wasn't there. And again, it wasn't many, it was two. The first one was not specific to individuals, it was to a political party, and we were represented, and I just explained why I couldn't be at the recent economic dialogue.
Okay, so the other question is from Javon. He says, "Leaders eat last" is one of my favorite lines from you. Could you explain that in a layman's term?
And there's actually a book that I encourage you to go and find and download and read. It talks about leadership and leaders eat last. And when I first, made that comment, people interpreted eating in the Liberian context, meaning let other people steal first and then you steal last. And of course, that was not and I'm glad you want me to put it in layman's terms. But what it means is that as a leader, right? If you are the first, so the example let's use is you go to a buffet, and the ANC and actually many political parties, you have meetings and you have food at the end. And typically there's a buffet, table and people go eat. As a leader, when you go first ahead of people, would send a head table first, eat first. You don't care if there's enough food left for all of your followers, all of your supporters, all of your partisans, because you're not eating your stomach full. And if the rice finish, or the gravy finish, or the plantain finish, or the soup finish, your stomach full. You don't care. The ideal leader is lies to say, and we do that at the ANC. We make sure everybody eat first, because as the leader, when you gotta eat large, you make sure there's enough food for everybody to eat. So we, leadership of the party, we are with. We will let anybody involved in the meeting, let them all eat and make sure they're fed. Then we get up and we go get our food. And that's a way of ensuring that there's enough food for everybody to eat that are attending the occasion you're having. And what that means for the country is that we want servant leaders. We want people who want to come to serve the Liberian people. We want to take care of our people, their basic needs, make sure, the schools are operating and make sure we're paying people first before we pay ourselves, our leaders. We want to make sure the civil servants are getting their salaries. But we want to take care of the people first. That's gotta be, we want the concept of servant leadership, right? Liberians elect us to serve them. They are our bosses. And so I use that analogy to say people who want to support the ANC, who want to support Alexander Cummings, come with that mentality. We're coming to serve our people, to change our country so that everybody can benefit. Yes, we will pay people their salaries. They will get compensated for the work to do, but that's it. You're entitled to no more, except for fair pay for fair work to serve our people. Government service should be a special calling. Yes, in the context of Liberia, the government is the biggest employer, and something we need to change over time. The private sector needs to be the biggest employer. So we need to pay people living wage, fair wage. But beyond that, you should expect nothing else. And you should want to come and serve our people. And you want to put our people first. It also applies to this concept of customer service, right? If people are coming to get their license, to pay their taxes, to get their passports, there should be processes. People who are serving them should be polite, should take care of them. Again, the concept of servant leadership. And so thank you for the opportunity to try to make that simple for people, the concept of leaders eat last.
Okay. So another question we have here is from Jesse Pillow. He says, and he's from the front page Africa Live, please ask him about the interview he did recently about what he said of the president only. Why, if the CPP doesn't carry him as presidential candidate in 2023? But hold on to that, because there are also similar questions. One is specifically to that interview. Other question is from Vasco Sumo from the ANC Global Live. He says, the question is, if he's not the head of the CP of the coalition, will he support the head of the ticket? Stephen Gorter also asked similar questions. So those three in one.
So, first of all, the interview referred to was done, I believe, in 2016. It was prior to the last election. And I know people did things up and they reposted or they put it up there to try to make a point. But if there's a date file or a date code on the tape, you will see it happen well prior to the last election. And so the context was very different from where we are today. And you should also listen to the question. Let's not be superficial here about these things. Listen to how the question was asked and then listen to the response. And for various reasons, people jump to conclusions they want to jump. So again, I want to put the interview in context, and don't take my word for it. Go and look it up. You will see when it was up. And also listen to the question and then listen to my answer, and you will see the context was very different. But to answer the question now, we are in the process of putting together a framework for how the collaboration will work. Part of that framework will determine how both for senatorial race or representative race or for the presidential race, what that process is. When we sign up for that process, because we are part of the negotiation, we'll agree what that process is. When we sign up to that process, and when that process, and I believe it will be, when and if that process is conducted free, fair, transparent, and by the way, we will publish what the process is. It will not be a secret. We will publish the framework for every Liberian to see. But if that framework is executed, if that process is followed, and the outcome of that process is that somebody else leads the collaboration, we will support the outcome of that process. So key is that we define the process we sign up to, and the process is executed the way it's intended, free, fair, and appropriately. But the other thing I want Liberians to start thinking about is we gotta grow this budget. We spend a lot of time talking about the same part of money, $400 million, $500 million, right? And yes, that's all we have now, and we gotta manage it and allocate it efficiently. But we gotta begin to think expansively. So how do we take that money from 400 million to 700 million to 1 billion, so on and so forth? We gotta figure out what are the driving revenue sources, and we should allocate time and money there so it can become self-fulfilling, it can drive it, so we can grow. Because I can tell you for free, if that money is still $400 million, we'll not be able to do much. So we will be more efficient in allocating what we have, If the president doesn't feel spending money, we'll not spend it. But the priority has to be to grow the economic pie, to grow the national budget so we can have the resources to invest in and develop our country.
Okay. Musa Boy Kamara asked, wrote a long thing, but and he said, what can you do now that can advance the economic interest of Liberians, thus encouraging investors to come and boost our economy?
So I'm glad that question was asked, and I would take some time to explain, and I hope people get it and understand. And there's a question about what I can do as an individual, as a private citizen, and then there's a question of what we can do as a country and what the government should be doing. Let me first of all remind Liberians that investors have a choice of where to put their money. They do not have to bring it to Liberia. We are competing with our neighboring countries and many other countries for the investment dollars. What does that mean? They have a choice of taking their money to Sierra Leone, to Guinea, to Ivory Coast, to Ghana, to Nigeria, to Kenya, and that's just in Africa. They can take it to Asia, they can take it to Latin America. So people that make the money, corporations, investors, they have choices of where to make their money. That's the first thing everybody needs to understand. Secondly, people will invest their money. Remember, these are people hard-earned money. 99.9% of the kinds of investors we want to attract earn this money over a long period of time. They earn it the hard way. You know, I often say, I digress a little bit, that many Liberians know how to spend money. Many of us don't know how to make it. And part of that because we haven't given ourselves the opportunity, a pure opportunity. And when you make your own money, you spend it differently than when you get it for free. It's human nature. So the investors we're trying to attract make money the hard way. They will put the money in countries. They have choices where to put the money. They put it in countries where they have confidence in the government and in the country. And so when the government cannot explain how they use their own money, like the 25 million mop up, or the 16 billion Liberian dollars that the accounting for is still questionable. When the government interferes in the judicial branch of government, so because as an investor, when you bring your money in, you want to make sure there's an independent judiciary. So if you have dispute with a Liberian or another foreign investor, or with the government, you want to make sure the court system will adjudicate in a fair way. You don't want a court system where you think the president or some minister can pick up the phone, call the judge, and adjudicate against you. If those conditions do not exist, I am sorry, my fellow Liberians, people will not bring their money here. No matter what Alex Cummings says or does, these are people's personal money. The conditions have to exist. The environment have to exist. When you look at the recommendations and the papers we prepared for the economic dialogue, the first thing we said has to happen is we have to restore confidence in the country, in the economy, in the government, in the actions, if you want to have foreign investors come. We should ask ourselves, why is Sam Daibi cutting back and leaving? They're already here. Why is Firestone reducing? Why are many other small businesses leaving? There's a reason why. When you are an outside investor and you're looking for where to invest, if other people are coming and encouraging you to come, but if the people who are there already are leaving, you're not going to bring your hard-earned money, particularly when you got choices of where to put your money. For myself personally, I'm an investor in some businesses in Liberia. I'm leery to make those public because I'm afraid it will be punished. I have partners who I'm in business with in our country, they create jobs. They're not big businesses, but we create jobs and that kind of stuff. But making that public, given the current environment we have, they will try to tax them, they will make it hard for them to get their stuff to the ports, etc., etc., etc. And so I'm very careful not to put my partners at risk in terms of my personal investments. But I also want to say, though, as a family, we do a lot of philanthropy in Liberia. We give the paper. It's okay. This is an informal podcast. We do a lot of philanthropy in Liberia. We do scholarships. We sponsor. We subsidize very heavily a STEM school here in Liberia. We have put computer labs in University of Liberia, AMEU University, St. Clements, and other institutions. So we do a lot on an ongoing basis to help Liberia and Liberians. But again, as a private citizen, as only one person, one family, there's only so much I can do. I can't solve the problems of Liberia all alone, all by myself. And so, Mariah giving me questions here. And so we do what we can. We try to encourage others to come and invest. But unless we fix these structural problems, it doesn't matter what I say, what you say, what anybody else say. People will not bring their heart and money when they have other alternatives unless we restore confidence in our government, in our country, in our institutions. These are just facts. These are Alexander's facts. The last thing I would say to answer this question in terms of what we're doing, we're the lead sponsor of Entrepreneurship Summit we want to have in November 14 and 15 in Liberia. We're trying to find other institutions, other individuals to come and join us because we want to have a summit where we can encourage Liberian entrepreneurship. We will provide master classes to teach young entrepreneurs how to build a business plan, how to market your business on social media, etc., etc. We'll do workshops. And we have experts, some successful Liberian business people, some from the outside to come and conduct these master classes and these workshops. We're also going to have a competition at the end where we'll make a fund available where businesses can come and compete for a small amount of working capital to help them move their business ahead, move their business forward. And so a competition, those of you who know Shark Tank, is something along those lines where people come make a pitch and then we'll pick winners and then winners will get some money to go ahead and facilitate their business. So we're doing as much as we can as an individual. We're trying to rally others to help us in that effort in terms of job creation, in terms of economic growth. But as a private citizen, as an individual, there's only so much I can do to help, and we'll do our best to help our country as best we can.
Okay, so Yankuba Kamara says, can you please ask him why he doesn't want to serve in any position except the presidency?
First of all, let me say that there are many important jobs in government and outside of government. And I think we all spend too much time focusing on government and on the executive branch of government specifically, when we should be thinking about not only all branches of government, but how we transform all facets of our society, civil society, church, the mosque, all of these institutions. We need to make sure we're thinking holistically about the transformation of our country. When I said I wanted to serve our country, to lead our country, I said, look, the most impactful job to transform and to change our country is the presidency. If you want to impact all 4.5, 4.6 million Liberians, that's the job you want to do it through. Doesn't mean the other jobs are not important, right? And it doesn't mean that there are not other ways to serve. But I want to impact all Liberians. Now, the question is somewhat hypothetical because we're not at the stage where decision needs to be made about a different role, another role. And by the way, Liberians who are listed here, you don't enter a competition to come in second, third, or fourth. You enter a competition to win. If you go into a basketball tournament with your team, you enter to win the tournament. You don't enter to become runner-up or to come third place. If you go in a race, sprint or long distance race, you enter the race to win. You don't enter the race to come in second, third. I can say to you in the vision of your careers, if you start already going in, planning to come in second or third, you will come in second, third, even fourth. I can tell you that personal experience, watching around the world, watching organizations, watching, you go to win. And if you don't win, if the circumstances change, then you deal with the outcome at that point in time. But to go into it, to start having this discussion about, take another role, other stuff, that's what we end up, right? In the end, it may happen. We may end up there. But the goal has to be, your aspiration has to be to win. And then when the eventuality happens, because the people go a different way or you're not successful, then you deal with it, then you make choices at that point in time. And that would be my response to what is somewhat a hypothetical question.
Okay. Wallo BK wants to know what action has the ANC taken against the ANC candidate who refused to withdraw his currently running came out.
So the ANC, we're trying to build an institution. We have trying to execute our processes for how we handle what just happened with the candidate. There's an ethics and compliance committee that is working now to decide the outcome of what happens to Simon Taylor, who refused. There will be consequences. I can tell you that for now. I cannot predict what the committee will recommend, what those consequences will be, but there will be consequences. They will not be for free. But this is not the kind of party we want to build where I will come and decide this is what he did, and I don't decide this is the punishment. We're trying to build an institution. We're trying to put processes and systems in place. It takes time to do it, particularly in the context of our country and our environment. But we're determined to put processes in place, and I promise you that we've appointed a committee. Is actually led by one of the lawyers in our county. It's a 5-man committee that is looking at this. It will come with the recommendations, I believe, next week. And there will be some consequences. And again, I will not predict that. It will be unfair to the committee what those consequences will be.
Aaron Shapolu wants to know, what is your plan for agriculture?
So again, if my personal plan or plan when if we're fortunate to assume leadership of our country, from a policy perspective, if you will, agriculture has to be the backbone of the economy of Liberia. So if you look at the Ivory Coast, the reason why they can withstand the ups and downs of the world economy, many reasons why they're further ahead of us, but they have an agro-based economy, and we need to develop that in Liberia. Ghana, today earns about $2 billion from cocoa exports. Nigeria, of course, a very big country, but they earn over $18 billion from cassava exports. So we need to be focusing on agriculture as a country. And what does that mean? It means we gotta put the resources necessary. Farmers need money, financing. They need to know they have a ready market for the outputs. We need to make sure we got roads, farm to market roads. We need to make sure we got training for our farmers, fertilizers, the agriculture extension services to be revitalized. We need to do all those things to make sure we revitalize the agriculture industry. As an individual, I do not have a farm. I'm an investor in a farm. But again, I want to remind Liberians that I'm one citizen of this country who, yes, I have aspirations to serve our country, but I can only do so much. We only do so much with the limited resources I have. My resources are not unlimited. because those resources are hard earned over many years of work and toil, I have to spend it prudently. I will not spend it, get bankrupt, and then we just look at each other. Nobody can help each other. That is not who I am, and that is not what you will get from me. But I believe in agriculture as an investor with some other partners in agro-based type business. I probably said too much now. People start to research what that is, and I probably put those people in trouble. But that's the extent to which I'm personally invested in agriculture. You got to know your area, right? I'm not an expert in that area, and I'm partnering with people who are. So my personal and what we should be thinking about as a government in the future.
Sekou Azumana doesn't have a question, but he's appealing for you to please stop knocking the table because the mic is sensitive and his ears.
I'm so sorry. I talk with my hands, and I've been advised that that's not only the noise, Sekou, but it can be distracting. So I'll put my hand on the table. For that.
Okay, so Patrick,
So as you see, this is a conversation with Mr. Cummings, and we urge everyone who are listening to this to keep sharing this live video. We are also live on the ANC TV page. We are also live on the ANC YouTube channel. You can go to the YouTube channel. We are live there. This is a conversation with Mr. Cummings. You can view it. You can save this video and then you can watch it over. So we'll have 4 more minutes in our favor, and then we'll call to the day. Thank you. Let's keep listening.
wants to know what is your plans for the health sector?
Yeah, so the way to think about the health sector, again, I want to emphasize that we can't fix everything on day one. We'll fix health. I will tell you what we should do in health, right? And we got to make choices. And even though we need to fix health, education, infrastructure, the list goes on and on. Even within those various sectors, right, we're going to make choices, right? Because if you got 10 things wrong and you try to fix all 10 at the same time, you will do not well. You will have 10 unhappy people. If you got 10 things wrong and you say, look, we'll focus on these 3 or 4, at least we'll have 3 or 4 happy people because you will do it well, you will get results. And hopefully you can explain to the other 6 people why you're not getting to them right away, right? So within health, we gotta make choices. So what kills 70-80% of Liberian people? And this is in no particular order, but these things is what cause most deaths in our country. So in no particular order: childbirth, malaria, typhoid, hypertension, diarrhea, and maybe I missed one. But those is what kills most Liberians. So we need to focus on those things, and when you do it is through what they call primary health care. So meaning you want to have a lot of well-equipped clinics around the country. You want to train many midwives and nurses, because oftentimes treating those diseases don't require doctors. You need to train doctors too, but it takes a long time to train doctors, right? So we need to do that. But you can train midwives quicker, you can train nurses quicker. So you need to have those, and focusing on make sure the clinics are well equipped, the medication is there, etc., and you begin to impact those diseases, again, childbirth, diarrhea, malaria, hypertension, so on and so forth. You begin to impact 80% of what kills our people, and that needs to be the focus, right? Then we'll get to more complicated things, training doctors, making sure our referral hospitals are well equipped for cancer and for heart problems and liver problems, etc. We'll get to those things. They are not unimportant, but again, you gotta make choices. You gotta start somewhere, and primary health care has to be the focus. Okay. So let's take a few more and
we're almost
wrap it
time.
Up.
So I think I did, but one said the ANC performance in past election was somewhat embarrassing. It reflects polling the party. What have you, as the leader, done to mitigate such failure, and what is the restructuring that has been done to address the poor performance lastly, what is the prospect for the ANC in the coming elections?
So yes, we did not perform well in the 2017 election, and I, as the leader, I'm embarrassed by that performance. But let me qualify that though, because it's important that we do. First of all, the ANC is one of the youngest parties in the country, and 2017 was our first national elections. We had won Senate seat in 2014, Senator Daniel Nathan, who's a senator. But this was our first soccer game in the playoffs, if you will. First football game in the playoffs, right? So we had a lot of learnings. I have to say though, from where we started to where we end, although we didn't win seats in the legislature, the party actually did quite well, right? Nobody expected us to gather as many votes as we did. Nobody expected us to have placed where we placed. So I'm not making excuses. We didn't achieve the results we wanted to achieve. I'm personally embarrassed by that. But I also don't want to negate the hard work of many ANC partisans in a relatively short period of time to get us from now a national party. We are today the fastest growing So now we have a mix of some new leaders and some of the former leaders. So I think we have a good mix. And as I said, it was a very graceful transition that we were able to manage. And I'm proud of that. The agency is proud of that. You know, oftentimes when these things happen, nobody wants to go to the issue. And when they are forced out, they get on the radio, they castigate, they party, they do all of these things. We were able to make changes in our party in a matured way. I think we set a different bar, a different standard. And I'm grateful to our former leaders for the maturity with which they worked with us to make these changes. They are all, almost to a person, still involved in the party, still actively engaged in the party, and are still contributing to the party future success. And that's why, again, I believe we're the fastest growing party in Liberia, and I believe we'll continue to be the fastest growing party because of the changes we're able to engineer, to make, reflecting on the lessons from 2017. You know, there are other political parties in our country who have not done that, right? And you know who they are, and they know who they are. But I'm proud of the fact that we acknowledge the challenges we have, the mistakes we made, we owned it from where we came from, and we're very proud of that. But now we look ahead. Thank you, Mariah, and I want to thank the various camera people, press people here. This was our first podcast, so there was a lot of noise in the background, but we're figuring it out. We'll get better. I will practice not using my hands too much and making noise. It was a good suggestion that came. And again, this is just the beginning. I want to thank you all for your questions. We will do this at least once a month, maybe more often depending on what's happening in the country, but at least once a month. So you can hear my voice, you can ask questions, you can hear it from me, you can get the facts. I will promise you, we will always give you the facts. We'll tell you the truth. We'll admit when we're wrong. Because we want to have a transparent a relationship of integrity with our supporters and with the Liberian people. So thank you. And as I mentioned earlier, we do it from different locations, around the country, and we'll focus on various topics, open up, and then we'll take questions. So thank you. God bless, and have a good weekend.
So that was the voice from Mr. Arizona B. Cummings. This is the All About Cummings show. This is what we do to inform our people about Mr. Cummings every day, and we are most committed doing this. We'll always do this. We'll always do what we need to do to promote Mr. Cummings' presidency. So I'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who's been following. Thank you for sharing. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you for everything. And tomorrow again, we will bring you new updates on Mr. Cummings. On Friday, we'll be on the radio, Liberty Radio, and more about custody. The administrative assistant and the youth secretary general of the ANC will be our guest on Friday. So I'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you. Do not forget to follow and keep sharing the ANC Liberty TV. Thank you very much.
How I found it can make you heavy. It's just like Burkina, a way to capsize. Sweet, sweet, kids, our liver. Not for go along. He must be getting it, or a picture can eat it. It's our liver. It's our liver. It's our liver.